well, the thing is, when I quit the dream/nightmare job, I, I had no idea Medium would be such a success. I just knew that the other job would be a failure. You keep discovering things, and how do I know this? You don't. Most of the times, you don't, and sometimes you just take the leap without knowing what's going to happen.
Definitely.
And sometimes you crash and burn, and sometimes you fly.
Welcome to the PowerMind channel, your go-to channel for meeting inspirational people. And today it is my great pleasure to welcome Mona Lazar. A very warm welcome to you, Mona.
Hi, good to be here.
And I'm very happy that you had the time to come on the channel. And Mona is such an inspiring person because she is actually, and you're an inspiration for me from a distance, she's a great writer on Medium. Let me just read out your bio. It's wonderful. I love it. You are an ecstatic writer, an abstract painter, so you're an artist actually, an explorer of everyday magic, seeker of light in the shadow, mystical feminine running free. That is wow. I really love that. And you are, as I said, I came across you on Medium, and you're here to share with us a topic that I think for many of us is something that we still refer to as a taboo. That's why I picked that topic. It is actually why quitting your dream job after a few months can actually make you happier. But before we dive into that, let us introduce you to the viewers with a few personal questions. So first question would be, what is your passion? What are your passions in life?
Oh, I have so many. It's it's so difficult to choose when you are interested in.
I know that problem.
Well, it's definitely art. I think it's my main passion. I started with painting, but then I moved on to writing, and now I'm kind of doing both, but more writing than painting these days. But yeah, it's the main one would be art in general.
And what kind of art? Because for me, sorry,
painting is my favorite kind of art, but also writing.
Okay. Yes,
I wish I could do
because I saw your
well,
website.
but...
Yeah, it's paintings. It's beautiful paintings. I will link that in for the viewers. How would you describe the genre? It's kind of abstract painting, isn't it?
It's abstract. Yes, it's abstract paintings. I have a few portraits as well, but those are abstract too. I haven't made them public yet. I'm looking at one right now.
Oh, great.
The camera right in front of me.
But we will link in for the viewers, and I will link just in the video description some of your painting website. I saw that because it's beautiful. And for me, as a non-artist knower, I would just describe them as every painting is unique as it describes for me a feeling. That's what I associated it with.
Well, that's great because that's the purpose of art from my point of view. It's to make you feel something, whether you love it or hate it or despise it, or it makes you feel amazing or horrible. It's supposed to make you feel alive.
Yes, and that is definitely expressed in your paintings. And so your passions, and so this medium writing also, you would actually say, and I cannot agree with that more, you would say writing is a piece of art, right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yes, I definitely think writing is part of the arts, well, especially literature and poetry. But, these days with this boom of the internet and blogging, I think blogging and writing articles can be taken to the level of art. So yes, definitely part of art.
May I just ask, what is actually your opinion with the recent trend now, AI writing coming up? Do you think that AI is going to come to so close that it's like human art?
Absolutely.
Yes?
Yes.
Oh, that's fascinating.
I know people are afraid of AI, and long term, I think they are right to be afraid of it. I think AI will be able to take a lot of our jobs. But from my point of view, that's progress. And that's how progress works. When something better comes along, it's just correct that something or somebody who is better should take my job. And I think AI will be better at most things than most of us. I
And
know
that
it's an
is,
unpopular opinion, but I think that's the future. And at that point, I think we'll have to find other ways for us to exist in this world and to do things and to be in a different way.
I
But
have
yeah,
a similar feeling, actually. I think our role as human beings will change. And it's quite,
yeah,
I mean, as you said, scared is the word. I have that feeling, by the way, as well. I feel a bit scared or like I'm apprehending. But do you have that as well? It feels like something completely, a new wave is coming.
yes, definitely a new wave. I don't feel scared by it. I think I rather feel I'm amazed at it. I'm kind of looking forward to it, although I do realize that maybe like there are some people who are amazed in front of some wild animal and they stay there and they get eaten alive. Which
Yeah,
I think
yes.
one of the people.
Good
And just
image, actually. Yeah.
yes, I'm just amazed at this, at how powerful and all-knowing this AI is and how far it will go.
Yes, definitely. Now, next question about yourself. What is kind of the inspiration in life? What inspires you?
Oh, what inspires me? I think everyday life. I read a lot, not just on Medium, but I'm going to talk about Medium right now. And and also people, I tell people that I'm a writer and I write almost, well, not almost, I actually write 2 articles a day, not just on
Oh,
Medium. I
wow.
write on another site as well. And people keep asking me, where do I get all my ideas? It's I have too many ideas. I don't really have the time or maybe not even the energy to put them all into words. Thing is, I get inspired by everything, like everyday life. Walking down the street, I see something, or I read an article, and from that article, I get about 5 ideas. So I
Ah,
think for
yes, I
me,
have that as well.
right?
Yeah, it's like I see something, I'm like, ah, yes, and it links to an idea I already had in my mind,
Exactly,
and then I just
exactly.
jot it down on some kind of piece of paper, and I get
Yeah.
obsessed about it. You know?
Yes, yeah, it's really important to write it down because
Yeah,
ideas come and go.
and
And
they
if you
go.
let them go,
Yeah,
then
they're
maybe you're
gone.
under the impression that what am I going to write about? But if you write them down, you already have 2 ideas lined up.
Yes. Exactly. And
So
I
yes,
never actually went back. If I didn't write it immediately, I never went back to an idea of 2020, I don't know, spring 2020 and said, oh, let me dig out that idea. I have to write it immediately. That's my thing. If I don't
yes,
write it now, it's gone, as you
that's
said.
my strategy too.
Yeah.
But
And
it
that's
happens all
powerful.
the time. So inspiration is everywhere.
Mhm.
I don't think any of us artists have to look too hard for it because it's all over the place.
It's true. There seems to be this kind of thing that we sense. I mean, as writers, we sense something, okay, there's something, and then we just have to write it. I guess that's part of the writing process. For me, actually, it stays a miracle how there are, you've probably seen these tools that should suggest or that help writers having ideas. And I'm like, what are these tools for? I don't need that. Sorry, that sounds rather arrogant, but like, I guess still this inspirational thing, what you just described.
I think some people don't know they have it.
Or like,
The,
yeah, needs to be discovered. Yeah.
yes, they just haven't opened the door to a part of themselves, or maybe they don't have the technique like what we just both said.
Mm-hmm.
Just write the idea down because everybody has ideas all the time, but they go away. Like
That's a nice way of looking at it. Actually, it needs to be discovered, or like the awareness needs to be there that you just had ideas.
yes, exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you're just waiting for an idea when you sit down with your laptop, uh,
No,
let's
nothing.
see what can I write about now?
Yeah, it
You know,
doesn't work. Yeah.
the idea is not at that very moment, but
Yeah.
we already had 50 ideas that day.
And that's why I like this idea. Do you share that actually? May I ask you, do you share this thing of going out, as like you just said, in everyday life, going out there to have like being out in life as an ideation process? Is that true for yourself as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I kind of think that people who do not necessarily do a lot of things, but experience a lot of things, people who have an interesting life have a lot more things to talk about. Like it doesn't have to be interesting to other people, but it has to
Yes.
be interesting to yourself.
Hmm.
Like, okay, you can be one of those people who is like me, who is always inside with their writing and their art and everything. But live your life passionately, be passionate about what you do, and put that in your writing or in your whatever it is you do.
Yeah, I think that is really nice advice for those that watch and want to become writers. That is really nice. And now, last personal question: what actually drives you crazy in life? What is something where you say, "No, I can't have that"?
Oh, people.
Right.
I think maybe that's why I'm a fan of AI, because people drive me crazy. They're hard to handle. There's, technology is in a way perfect, or the most perfect option we have on Earth. And people are, maybe unpredictable, maybe egotistical, maybe, yeah, they drive me.
And human beings, it's true. I also refer to that race as a very stubborn kind of hard to handle race. Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's maybe actually to build on your prediction earlier on AI, maybe AI is going to help us, because we as a human race, we have problems, we have issues,
We kind of do.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's dive into that interesting topic. So you wrote that lovely article that made me actually contact you and read many more of your articles, and obviously we're going to link them for the viewers. Before we dive in, I actually want to read out a little citation that I found is so beautiful. So it was in your article where you said actually the title was "Why Quitting Makes You Happier" or something like that. I can't recall it exactly. But it was about
I don't know it either, because
it was the process of
ago.
Yeah, it was you were in a dream job, and you kind of wrote the scenario of being in your dream job and quitting that short after starting. So, and I just want to quote you. I wrote this out because this really inspired me. Said goodbye to them, and I'm flying solo. My online writing is growing at a steady pace. I love doing it. I see results. I see growth. Passion, love. I might fail, but I'd rather fail at something I love than succeed at something I hate. And that is so beautiful. And I was like, bing, it ticked all the boxes with me, because and in society, this is still a taboo. We have it as a taboo. Even the received wisdom is that if you have a new job, you need to stick to this new job at least a year, because otherwise it harms your CV. That is the received wisdom in so many countries I've seen. And you wrote exactly about that taboo. Can you just give us a little, or can you give the viewers a little explanation of how you came to write that? Was that your personal experience as well?
It sure was. So the story was like this. I was looking for a job as a copywriter. I had zero experience in writing. Like what I wrote before that were just poems, which I have a book of poems which is not published. I just wrote it for myself. So that was my whole experience with writing, but it was something I liked doing. So I thought, I might like doing this. I would love to learn on a job. So this would have been my ideal job, getting hired somewhere as a copywriter, like as a junior copywriter. Maybe I was thinking even internship, where I could learn the tricks of the trade and then maybe grow with that company. So I was really open to being a copywriter, even without pay. And I kept applying. At some point, I did find the job thanks to my articles on Medium, because I was writing on Medium for a month. So I had about 30 articles there. And it was a copyright job. There was a salary. It wasn't great, but you know, it wasn't just unpaid internship, but I was really willing to do that as well. It was actually a salary, a small one, but they said the salary is going to grow as I grow and I would learn copywriting and stuff. I was so happy. Like, it was my dream
come true, exactly.
It was my dream job. And I was also happy with the Medium part, because my articles were, I saw constant growth, and I also had this in parallel. And seeing that portfolio of articles on Medium got me my dream job, like it was like a dream come true, and in a very short time. So I went to work, and I kind of knew from maybe my first week that this is no dream. This is a nightmare. The colleagues, I had, I think were 10 people in total, together with the boss. And I had a real connection with the colleagues, like from the get-go. We just clicked, and they were very nice to me. I was very nice to them. And, you know, I kind of figured that people click from the beginning in places where they are not treated so great.
Ah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
I didn't figure that out from the start. Just afterwards, I kind of analyzed things, and I was, oh, what is going on here? And talking to them, I found out that people were kind of coming and going.
Ah, bad sign. Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Yes, their attrition level was through the roof. And for about a month, so the first month, they gave me no training, like zero. Right. It's like, what am I doing here? I came here to learn. I have no idea what's going on. All the rest
there was
of
no
my
support at all. There was no
zero support. And my boss, he kind of said it himself, you know, we're not the best at welcoming in new employees. Like, well, learn.
Yeah, that is an essential thing of any company, to have a good process in place to welcome people, to onboard them, to offer them support, to train them, and to, I mean, this is part of the recruiting process, is the onboarding and the training. And if that, is not in place, that's already a first warning flag.
And then from the second month, I was immediately into it. I had a million things to do that I didn't know how to do, because I had no experience, and he knew that. Like, I wasn't hiding anything. He knew I had no experience. He knew I had no idea how to do things. I had no idea about copywriting. He just started giving me things to do, which I did. It was just really difficult. Even so, weirdly enough, he was very impressed with my performance. He said I was a really good writer, and I'm a really fast writer. I had no idea. I mean, I knew I liked writing,
yes,
but I didn't know I was either good or fast. And then in about 1 week after I started receiving all the work out of the blue, he gave me this huge project with like doing the copywriting and social media and everything for a festival, a music festival. And he had no other people working on that. I was thinking, for the love of God, how do you put somebody who has no experience and no idea what they're doing, me, on such a huge project?
That's also sounds a bit like, okay, what is going on?
It was scary. I was thrown in the water, and I was learning how to swim. but I wasn't really learning. Like the whole thing was just everything was emergency mode. Everything was, let's do this in 10 minutes, what we would take hours to do.
A lot of pressure, time pressure as well.
A lot of pressure. There were long hours, like
I
maybe
can
even
imagine. I
12
was going
hours
to
a
ask you
day.
about that. You probably worked around the clock. It looks like that, because the way you describe it is a lot of requirements, but no support.
Yes, it was exactly like that. And actually, that wasn't the reason I left. That was the difficult part. But the reason I left was that I had no creative say in anything. And
okay.
they themselves, they couldn't have given me any creative say because they had no say in front of their clients.
There was a strong hierarchy, and then in that hierarchy, it was always the one that was the superior who had the say, but not for their level. It was always the level above, right?
No. Actually, the clients, like they were an advertising company, doing also the social media and the copywriting and everything. And you have a client coming in who says, I want to grow my business, or I want some products to sell, or I need marketing or stuff like that. And you are this expert company because they were on the market for 20 years. So they're supposed to be experts in their field. And they would let the client do whatever he or she wanted.
Okay.
Like if the client said, I want this text, I don't know, to have the comments in the places I require, we'll put them there. And there was no expertise coming from them to say, look, this is our purpose. Let me do what I'm supposed to do, because I will take you where you need to be. You will have
the expertise that you're expecting from an advertising agency. Exactly.
Yes. So it was like the clients were, well, not the boss, they're supposed to be the boss, but they were letting people who had no expertise decide what the text would be, what the result would be. And this way they would lose clients all the time. So it was highly unprofessional.
So did you have a way to at least co-create with a client, or was that not accepted as well? Like, to say, okay, I suggest you this, you can add your opinions on that, but let us do that together. Was that kind of thing tolerated?
That was tolerated, but if the client had a different idea, we had to go for that, even if it was damaging to the client.
Okay. So the last call was always the client, and so you couldn't actually contribute your views, your creativity were not really. I mean, you couldn't bring in your own creativity, right?
No, I just kind of felt like a secretary typing in the ideas of the.
Okay, yeah, just executing without any of your ideas.
Yes. Like, what am I doing here? You think I'm a good writer? You think I'm a fast writer? Then let me do what I do best, if you think this is what I do best. But it was like this kind of attitude of, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my client and I need that money. So whatever he says.
So we do whatever he or she says, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So at some point I just figured out there is no growth for me here. I'm not learning how to be a copywriter. I'm not learning how to help clients grow their business. I'm not helping people with anything. I'm just taking their money for nothing.
Yeah, that's not satisfying for you as a professional.
Yeah, it wasn't satisfying in any way, as a human being, as a professional, as a writer, as anything. So I eventually thought, there's really no point.
And so you took the leap, and that is something I really want to underline. As you know, my background is organizational psychology, and I'm very much into one topic that I'm strongly about is received wisdom and prejudice. And that is something that is in the organizational world, in the corporate world, that is such a strong prejudice. And, you know, we're always talking about diversity and how to be respectful. We should also be respectful in terms of diverse CVs. So a CV can also be, you know, 3 months here, 3 months there. It doesn't mean that you're bad. But there is this prejudice, definitely. And I call that, it's a recruiting bias. It's one of the strongest ones, because where does this come from? It's not taught in any courses, but it's definitely done. It's common practice in many countries. People screen the CVs for continuity and how many years you have been with the company. Where does this come from? It's such a strong bias. And now, why are we afraid of quitting a job? As you just described, in this kind of experience, it doesn't make sense that you live another day in this condition because you're not happy. So why do we have this bias of saying, no, you have to carry on? Did you have your friends, your entourage also recommending you to stay and to stick in there?
Absolutely.
A classic, yeah.
Yes, of course. And even if, I don't remember what I wanted to say.
But we were just talking about how you took the leap and how you had that courage, because I just read your article and I was like, wow, you had that courage of doing it, you know, against the odds, because people don't, I mean, the average person would probably stay at least a year, right? And you didn't care about that. You did it nevertheless. That is what's my next, you know, how did you have that courage?
I don't really see it as courage. It was just, I knew it wasn't serving me. And after talking to my colleagues, it was obvious that this is going to go on and it's going to get worse, because it wasn't just the professional part. It was also an attitude of the boss towards his employees. Now, it didn't happen with me. I cannot say he was in any way rude to me at any point, but I know it happened to my other colleagues when I was there, and they also told me a lot of things that really not okay with them. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm wasting my time. I will get out. But it wasn't, I didn't feel like I needed courage for it. It was like a natural move for me.
Yes, and I think now, just from what I sense from your writings, I think in your kind of thinking, it is about life, isn't it? You were probably more concerned about your life than about a CV or a career, or, you know, these received wisdoms that we all have, that we have to have a neat CV. And I totally agree with you in terms of, and I'm linking that article because it so much inspired me to get that out to people. We need to care about our life because it's short and we shouldn't spend just another day in such an environment where you feel like you're not happy. Why should we, you know?
Absolutely. I'm a huge supporter of people who want to go their own way, even if they have to make that way. And yes, I know it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it.
Because something else is going to come along. And in your case, and that was the thing that so much inspired me now that I started my Medium writing as well. You actually then had, after that, a huge success story on Medium, and your writing is hugely popular. You resonate with so many people, and that is a confirmation actually of your passion.
Yes, well, the thing is, when I quit the dream/nightmare job, I had no idea Medium would be such a success. I just knew that the other job would be a failure. And, you know, it's like getting out of a bad relationship. If you're thinking, well, okay, so my partner, my husband is an abuser, but what if I get out of this relationship and my next one is going to be an abuser as well? Well, wait a minute. You already know the guy you're with is an abuser. Well, maybe the next one will be an abuser as well, but maybe not.
Yeah. It can only get better in a way, because the only person who can determine our lives is ourselves. So we might as well quit, first of all, that abuser, and then see what's next. Maybe there's just a tree that we want to hug. You know?
Exactly.
And I so much agree with you It's, you know, my mission is a bit with my medium writing also to bust these stereotypes in companies. And there's so many of them. And we all become these kind of victims of these received wisdoms that are around. And that's why really that article resonated, because that should not be happening. I should not be hanging on to a job for even a year, because a year is a year in our life.
Yes.
And it's too long for that. The life is so short.
It's true. So far, we don't know if reincarnation is true or not. So
yes,
as we know, we only have one life, so we better use it.
We better use it. Now, what actually also I want to highlight about your writing on Medium is you have this wonderful talent of totally always putting your finger on a taboo. And that is something that I really also, I want to spread the word about your writings, because you actually highlight things that are there, but nobody talks about them. And you just pick that out, you know, and it's usually silent. Nobody talks about that. And there was a lot also about relationships. I think you also said something about what these modern day expectations are that men and women have of each other, but they are not anything that exists. And that's why we keep disappointing ourselves of relationships, because relationships are not like that anymore, you know?
It's true.
And the way you actually have this art, I think that is your art, that you kind of highlight that and put it into words. You put labels on it. I mean, labels in your words, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I do talk about a lot of taboos. I didn't realize this. It wasn't something I did on purpose. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize people don't actually talk directly about everything they have in their head. So I just did it. I did it naturally because that's what I do in real life as well. And it's kind of, some people love me for it and some people hate me for it. And it's the same with writing. It resonates with a lot of people. And a lot of people love seeing someone say it, whatever they've been thinking all along. But a lot of people are also hurt in a way by it. They're offended by it.
Yes,
and
you said that, yeah.
They let me know in the comments.
Yes, but that is also the diversity. I mean, if somebody gets triggered by something you say, I mean, so be it. As long as they say it in a respectful way to you, I hope. I mean, okay. I guess that's what you said also before the interview. I think that's part of being a writer. When we express ourselves, we need to be prepared. It's not going to be everyone on this planet who likes it.
Exactly.
That is part of it, yeah.
Exactly. People are under the impression that being yourself is going to get you a lot of love. It's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. That is also diversity, that we respect that everyone is still different. So it means if I read your writing, it will resonate with me, but still you are different to me. So there will be expressions that I will not use. And so I have to respect that.
Yes, yes.
That is part of the whole diversity game, to my mind.
The thing is with writing, especially where if you're writing articles or, okay, if you're writing fiction, it's something else because that's a fantasy world. You can do whatever you want there. But if you're writing something that touches people and you're writing from different, like with somebody else's voice or trying to please everybody, it's never going to work out.
Definitely.
If you want to be successful as a writer, that's what I figured out, that my articles where I am most myself and not trying to not hurt anybody's feelings or keep everybody happy are the most successful articles.
Yeah. And where you just wrote for yourself, right? You just wrote for you because it made sense to yourself. Actually, do you have that as well? I want to ask you about this experience. Since I wrote on Medium, I have this thing that the writing process actually lets me realize things about myself.
Oh, definitely.
And that is so interesting because I was thinking actually I'm writing mainly for the audience, which is true. I'm writing for my audience. I want to share. This is my mission. I want to share after a lot of things I lived through in my life. I want to share that and get feedback on it and get into a conversation. But then I always, at the end of it, I'm different. After writing it, I'm different. I realize it changed something in myself.
Yes.
Because I learned something. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And the whole process, even, okay, sometimes I discover something different, but not all the time. But even when I don't, the writing itself and the process of writing is therapeutic every time.
Yeah. It definitely is, and it's something that clears. It has, for me, it has something clearing. Afterwards, I feel like, wow, okay, I feel better. I feel clear. My mind is clearer. That's what I want to say. Yes. And also, it's something like it usually connects something. So, as we said before, when you talked about your inspirations, it creates new connections between things you see. And then you are like, ah, yeah, right. Actually, I was not aware of it. And it makes things conscious as well.
Definitely. Yes.
And that is so powerful, isn't it? And that's why I agree with you relating to it as art. That's something, for example, I was not aware of myself, that I'm actually now entering in writing is art. And I was more seeing it as a technical craft beforehand. But that's different. I mean, writing as a technical craft is maybe the expressions, the grammar, how short the sentences are or how long. But the actual thing of then going through a thought process, or maybe even a feeling, that is the art, isn't it?
Well, yes, the thing is, with every art, a huge part of it is technical, even with painting.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you know, you have the color, it behaves a certain way. Like if you're painting in oil, it behaves a certain way, and there are certain rules that you need to know. If you use acrylics, it's totally different. Then there are brushes, and then there are, you know, canvases, and what people actually consider art is about 20% of it, but the rest,
the technique is always there. Yeah, it's true. It's a channel through which you get the feeling or the process. Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, without the technique and the discipline, no art is possible. That's true as well. Yeah, people always see it as a random thing. That's probably my own prejudice, right? So art is just there. No, it's not. You have to channel it through something, right?
You need a medium.
Yeah, it's true. That's why I love actually this name Medium for that platform, because it's exactly that. It's a brilliant medium. And the more I'm on it, the more I feel also it's a huge community of people who think alike about this process of writing.
But you know, that's actually not what it means. I thought that the name medium means like a medium to express
yourself.
Your writing.
Yes.
It's not.
It's,
you know, like there's short form, medium form, and long form art. Right.
That's what this is where the name comes from medium form.
Yes.
Oh, okay. But they probably are aware that medium can also be other sense.
Oh, I mean, for sure. But I read an article and somebody said it because the founder of Medium is also one of the guys who founded Twitter, and they had Twitter for short form, and he thought, I want to do something for medium form, and I'll call it Medium.
Okay, that was the original idea, but that's original as well, I find.
Yes.
But Twitter sometimes is very limiting. Yeah, it's too short. So I'm doing Twitter as well, but sometimes I feel like it's nice for just the headline, but then you want to carry on and then you have nothing left. It's too short.
Yeah, I tried Twitter as well. And I also want to go a lot longer than the words they allow. So
yeah. It's just, for me, it's the headlines. But then if I really want to write, I go on Medium, and I love Medium for that. It's just the form I need.
Me too.
Okay, next question to you. This is now about you as a person again. Like, what is your, I'm also interested in mindset things, in hacks people share, in things that people share to say, this is how life works for me. So in your life, in difficult situation, what is your mindset hack where you say, okay, that really helps me when life gets tough, I do this?
The first thing I do when it gets tough, I have this mantra that says, "This too shall pass." Unfortunately, that's also true about the good things. But
Yeah, that
but
is true.
when good things come along, I try to not think about it. But
Yeah.
when bad things come along, and sometimes it gets really bad, then I take out my mantra and I'm like, this will pass. Yes, it's bad now, but it's been bad before. It's going to get better. It always has. Hang in there. It's just a matter of time.
That's
So,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah,
And it helps to see the larger context. You kind of taking yourself on a larger context and saying, so that's just one stage in my life. It doesn't have to be the continuum of my life like that.
exactly. Like it's
Yeah.
just one bad day, not one bad life or
Yeah.
one bad month. It's not. Has
Oh, that
multiple.
reminds me of one thing about, in psychology, they describe that bias when people start to overly generalizing. Actually, in adolescence, they have found that in research when they have, for example, a bad day, and then they come home and say, "Oh, I'm such a bad pupil. Oh, the school is so bad." And that's this bias. We have that tendency. We need to always, actually, your mantra helps us with that. It's just a day. It's just a short period, and it will pass.
Yes. I also had another one, but that's not really helpful. It does help, but it feels like I'm kind of like something gets bad, and I'm trying to be, larger than life because sometimes things happen that are beyond our control.
Yes, we
Um,
don't have everything. Nothing actually we have in control. Sorry.
yes. And I try to go the route of I'm stronger than this, I'm bigger than this. Like, oh yeah, this is the best you can do.
You challenge yourself, right?
I
Yeah,
actually challenge life.
yeah.
Only that you're giving this, I can beat this, I can be better than this. And
Mhm.
it's not exactly a good idea because life can throw more at you. It
Oh,
can
it's
say,
true. It's true. It's true.
it
Yeah.
can say, no, I can give you worse.
Mm.
Have this.
Yeah, and then I know life can be full of surprises, but I would agree with you because it's sometimes it's worth it going for it, because why should we always hold back? That's also what life is about. If we keep on holding back and like, oh no, something worse might happen, then we have not lived, have we?
It's true. It's
And
true.
it's like, what I believe, what do I want to be proud of if I ever have the pleasure of reaching maybe 80 years? What do I want to be proud of? I want to be proud of having lived, actually, and not just hold back. I had this conversation recently with somebody about, should we always fight for a thing, or should we rather exit? I mean, there's no right or wrong in that. In some
Exactly.
situations, it might be good to exit and say, okay, it's not worth it. But in some situations, it's worth fighting for it if it's for something dear to us, or if it's for a person that we love, or something that is our passion. I think definitely we should fight for it. Like you just described this as well. You definitely made everything possible to have your passion in your life. So I
Yes.
think there's no right or wrong in that. It's kind of like it depends on the situation.
Yes, it depends on the situation and it depends on everybody's personality. Like some people are fighters, but that's their way of being. Not
Mm.
everybody is. And sometimes we just want to make everybody the same. That's it. We're all fighters now.
True.
Let's do
Yeah,
that. Everybody can do that. Just because I can do it doesn't mean everybody can.
true.
And other people can do other things better than me. I can do this fighting thing better than them. We're all best at something that
That is
somebody else
powerful as
is.
well, what you're saying. Yeah, we need to also respect that if I can fight for it, the person next to me will probably not be able to. Yeah, it's true.
Yes, somebody is just not okay. Maybe everybody could, but not everybody could to the extent that we can. And
Mm-hmm.
the effort that they need to put in is just not worth it for them.
That
And
is true. That also would underline the thing about find your own way. We need to all find it. It is not possible to copy another person. You can be inspired by another person. Expired.
yes,
Alex. But you cannot copy the other. So you have to find your own way. This is what we can tell our children, right? They cannot copy their parents. It's not possible. They can only find their own way in life. It's their life.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not possible, and I don't think it's a good idea either, because
yeah. Exactly.
I believe we're here to be ourselves, not somebody else. And
exactly.
Bring our own unique personality to the game.
Yes. And then final question I have to you, what are you grateful for in life?
Oh, I think that what we just talked about is what I'm most grateful for, that even when I'm scared, I don't stop. Like I take the leap, even when it's difficult. And this brought me in a lot of situations, good situations, where I met amazing people, or I experienced great things. So somehow, I think I'm most grateful about this part of me that gives me access to a lot of things that I otherwise wouldn't have.
That is beautiful, actually. Would you actually say that you discovered this side of yourself through the writing or the art that you do?
Through the art, yes. It didn't start with the writing, it continued with the writing. I think it started with the painting.
Oh, cool. That confirms, we need to find also our own ways of expressing ourselves and kind of reflecting on ourselves, because that makes us stronger.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because the way you voice it now, the way you're able to say it, means you have had the time and also the state of feeling to reflect and feel about yourself to get to that. It's not something that just drops from heaven.
Unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah. And it needs a lot of time, and also time and patience with oneself. I'm actually reflecting on that myself a lot at the moment, because I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she always asks me that question. She asks me, but Mom, how do you know this? I'm like, it doesn't drop. You need to spend time with yourself. And yes. Then after a while you figure out, I'm good at this. I want to do this. And then you need to grasp it, as you just described. And then you start to realize, oh yes, that's something that I'm grateful for.
Yes, and you keep discovering things. And how do I know this? You don't. Most of the times you don't. And sometimes you just take the leap without knowing what's going to happen. Definitely. And sometimes you crash and burn, and sometimes you fly.
And that's part of life, isn't it? That is life.
Exactly.
So I really encourage all those people who have watched this video to read your writing, because I think it encourages to, one thing, what you just said, to just live life and to be yourself. It really is encouraging. And I mean, for me, you have been an inspiration, and I think you will be an inspiration for many others. So thank you for that great interview.
Oh, thank you too. Really enjoyed it.